that's what was going on in my head. I was stuck trying to figure out what was wrong with me. Why couldn't I time manage better? Why wasn't I this way? Why wasn't I that way? Why didn't it look this way? And really, now that I look back on it, one of the roots of my problems was accepting the season I was in. I could not accept slowing down. I could not accept the life change. It's funny because when you're saying like, well, you knew you were having a baby, you didn't think things were going to change. I did, but not in the way that I was experiencing. So accepting my season was my first challenge. And also knowing that just because things changed, it didn't mean I lost everything that I was working towards prior. I did. I hate to admit, I really struggled with the fact that I was working on television. Had this business that I had built, and I had spent years networking and working really hard and fast. And then all of the sudden, like the rug got pulled out from underneath me. And I felt like I was going to lose everything. But I really had to reevaluate what my everything was. And also learn how to trust that God is always going to find a way to bring you back to your purpose, to where He wants you. All that work that I did do prior to Siena, it did end up sustaining me down the road. Things just took longer and a different kind of twisty, turny path. But if He wants you to be somewhere, the journey may not look though we have as we had planned. I mean, look at Mary, okay? Do you think that she imagined her pregnancy would be this way? That she would get pregnant unwed? Do you think that she wanted to journey on a donkey while pregnant? I mean, can you imagine being like 7 months pregnant or whatever and having to sit on a donkey? Like, absolutely not. And let alone not being able to have a hospital, but no room at the inn where she gave birth. And we get upset when we don't have like the ocean view that we want. Yeah. So the journey doesn't always look like what we planned. And I also spent a lot of time comparing my trajectory to others, which left me feeling inadequate and confused all of the time. And I still struggle with this sometimes. But now I bring myself back to certain promises in these moments. I slow down and I stop using words like always, forever, and never. And I try to pare back my thoughts and think today is tough, but tomorrow will be different. She's not always crying. She's just fussy today. Things won't always be this way. She's going to grow and become more independent, and so will I. I was always stuck in this merry-go-round of like Groundhog's Day for a while. And I do think some of that's kind of normal and common, in the first couple of months or at some points in motherhood. I mean, you're taking care of them day in and day out, along with everything else, and waking up every morning and doing it over and over again. You can start getting stuck in these hamster wheels of thoughts. And now when I notice myself starting to say something like always, never, like those really definitive timestamps that aren't necessarily true, I think back and I pull back the reins and I'm like, let's get different perspective. Today is a tough day. Tomorrow doesn't necessarily have to be the same. And also asking God to keep my heart open to learning and seeing things His way. Maybe I don't understand this season of waiting or hardship, but I do know that it's temporary. And there's something I can glean here to strengthen my faith and relationship with Him.